Good morning and welcome to Barbaras Bulletin. I'm your host, Barbara. Today, we're following a significant development in French politics as former President Nicolas Sarkozy appears in court to appeal his conviction for criminal conspiracy over attempts to procure campaign funds from Libya. This case has been making headlines for years, and its implications reach far beyond France's borders. As we delve into the story, it's essential to remember that Sarkozy has consistently denied any wrongdoing, maintaining that he did not make a deal with the late Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi in exchange for campaign financing. However, the prosecution alleges that such an arrangement was indeed made, with Sarkozy's successful 2007 presidential bid potentially benefiting from millions in cash from Libya. The first trial concluded with Sarkozy being found guilty of one count of criminal conspiracy, resulting in a 5-year jail sentence. He spent 20 days in a Paris jail before being released under judicial supervision. This appeal is not only about Sarkozy's personal legal battles, but also touches on broader themes of corruption, the rule of law, and democracy. Rights groups such as Sherpa, Anti-Corps, and Transparency International France have weighed in, emphasizing that the fight against corruption is crucial for maintaining effective democracy. They see this case as a significant test of France's ability to hold its leaders accountable. As Sarkozy faces up to 10 years in prison if convicted again, his lawyer, Christophe Ingrain, has chosen not to comment ahead of the appeal trial, indicating that the legal team is preparing for a robust defense. The fact that Sarkozy was acquitted of 3 other charges related to corruption and misuse of Libyan public funds adds complexity to the case, highlighting the challenges in proving such allegations. This story raises important questions about political integrity, international relations, and the consequences of dealings with authoritarian regimes. It's a reminder that even at the highest levels of power, leaders are not above the law and must be held accountable for their actions. We'll continue to follow this case closely as it unfolds, providing updates and analysis on Barbaras Bulletin. For now, let's take a break before moving on to other significant news stories from around the world. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbaras Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbaras Bulletin. We're continuing our coverage of global news, and today we have 2 devastating stories from Pakistan and Yemen. First, let's take a look at the tragic incident in Pakistan, where an artillery attack on a village in northern Yemen killed at least 10 people, including 6 children. The government has blamed Iran-backed Houthi rebels for the shelling, which occurred during the holy month of Ramadan. It's heartbreaking to see innocent lives lost, especially children, and our thoughts are with the families affected by this tragedy. In another tragic incident, a stampede in Pakistan resulted in the deaths of at least 10 women and children who were gathered to collect financial assistance ahead of Eid al-Fitr. The Benazir Income Support Program, named after former Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto, provides cash assistance to millions of low-income families, many of them women. Unfortunately, crowding and stampedes sometimes occur in Pakistan during Ramadan when government agencies, charities, and businesses distribute food and cash to poor families. As we report on these stories, it's essential to acknowledge the complexities of the conflicts in Yemen and the challenges faced by low-income families in Pakistan. We must also recognize the humanitarian efforts underway to support those affected by these crises. It's crucial for us to approach these topics with empathy and understanding, avoiding simplistic or biased narratives. By doing so, we can foster a more informed and compassionate dialogue about the issues that matter most. Welcome back to Barbaras Bulletin. As we wrap up today's show, let's take a closer look at the ongoing U.S.-China trade talks. Despite mutual accusations and tensions, top trade officials from both countries concluded their 2-day summit in Paris on a relatively stable note. The discussions, which took place behind closed doors at the OECD offices, covered various topics including agricultural orders, rare earth minerals, and trade balances. According to sources, China appeared open to further agricultural orders from the U.S., having already agreed to purchase 25 million metric tons of American soybeans for each of the next 3 years. The two sides also explore proposals for a U.S.-China Board of Trade and Board of Investment to balance trade between the world's two largest economies. However, the talks were not without their challenges. President Donald Trump threatened to delay a summit with Chinese leader Xi Jinping planned for later this month unless Xi agrees to help unblock the Strait of Hormuz, a key waterway for oil tankers that has been heavily impacted by the U.S. and Israel-led war on Iran. Meanwhile, Beijing accused Washington of making erroneous claims about China's alleged condoning of forced labor, which the U.S. is investigating. The Chinese Foreign Ministry called the probe discriminatory and an attempt at trade manipulation. Despite these tensions, analysts note that China may have gained leverage in the talks due to its recent economic uptick. The country's industrial output and retail sales increased more than expected in the first 2 months of 2026, with industrial growth rising 6.3% and retail sales up 2.8% from the same period last year. As we look to the future of U.S.-China trade relations, it's clear that there are still many challenges to be addressed. However, the fact that both sides are continuing to engage in dialogue is a positive step towards finding common ground. We'll continue to monitor the situation and bring you updates as more information becomes available. That's all for today's Barbaras Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay engaged.